Ah, jump scare.
Oh, okay. We're not at that part yet, but
Oh, okay.
Now, we're not able to access it yet, but this area is one of the most interesting in the game because once you come back here with the drawbridge crank, you can access a boat from here, which leads you in two separate directions to two surprisingly expansive optional areas. One of them is the area that we just came from, the house with a well behind it, outside of Lady D's castle. But it's not just a house with a well behind it. It's a well that has a puzzle room in it, and if you go just over that way from the house with the well, you can activate another drawbridge, which takes you to another puzzle room in the side of Lady D's castle. So there's a lot to find in that area. But in the opposite...
I mean, of course there's something at the bottom of the well. Have you never played a video game before?
But if you take... the boat in the opposite direction down the same river, it takes you to another optional area, which not only has a pond with some fish in it, but also a cave where you can find some more files by Chris's people. And it's actually pretty interesting. I'm surprised that they crammed so many optional areas into this game. It's not an exceptionally long game to play through. It's essentially just a slightly more stretched out version of Resident Evil 2 Remake's formula. But there are quite a bit more optional explorable areas and treasures to find, and more opportunities to re-explore the village hub with new areas unlocking as you go, which was not a thing that Resident Evil 4 ever did.
Yeah. Didn't figure if you're the type to dry your own piss, Ethan.
Duke, can I sell you this vase of urine?
His last name's Head.
No.
Ethan Head.
Okay, so each of the four flasks contains a piece of rosemary.
All right,
The
but
fuck?
tell me I'm not the only one.
Wait, what?
Hold on, tell me I'm not the only one. How much for it in the merchant?
Oh, come on. Surely there should be like an optional mode where you can sell your daughter. Surely, like on a New Game Plus or something.
Wait, hold the phone. They actually dismembered a child in this game?
Yes, it's
That's
she's kind of a super powerful fungus mutant. Mold
She's a
mutant,
super
rather.
powerful 14-pound baby.
I have to remember there's a difference between fungus and mold. But baby, mushroom baby, mold baby. She's
the baby.
she's a really potentially powerful BOW, and she can survive this, believe it or not. She's even more super durable than Ethan is in that respect. So
I just noticed a really cool detail. Look at the top left of the Duke's little room that he's sitting in.
top left.
He's got fucking garlic hanging there to keep the vampires away. No, yeah, the vampires. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that would actually work.
Well, it clearly does. He's still like, I mean, Jesus Christ, how much could they drink from him? I mean, he's still alive.
So garlic doesn't work on werewolves. So what, does he have any silver?
Yeah, we just lost the E-Flash.
Maybe he does it as a taunt. That would be funny.
Wait, what happened to our flask?
Stuff too. Maybe he just used.
What's with the freaking comic book?
It's a flash of first-person memory from the baby's point of view.
Okay.
As you do.
Like, if you're watching carefully, you can see that it's the baby's arms that you're seeing in front of your view instead of Ethan's.
Yeah, they're actually intact.
Not that you'd be able to tell because, 14 pounds is pretty much the same size as an adult man.
Yeah, it is.
So, 14 pounds, adult man? An adult man with the world's worst eating disorder, maybe. Come on. Fair warning, if you don't want to have a stupid charm hanging off of your gun for the rest of the game, don't buy the charm items, because there's no way to take them off.
I really wish I didn't.
What do the charms do?
They're cosmetic.
They're just cosmetic little
just
keychain charms you can stick on a gun. Any gun.
I didn't realize you couldn't take them off. I didn't even consider that.
Yeah, most players don't realize that you can't take them off until they've already put them on and then tried to take them off because they got tired of the novelty of having misdirection.
Oh my god, it's a titty
They
tassel.
don't realize it's not possible until they regret everything they ever did.
Yes. So watch out for that. It's odd that they didn't include a way to take them off because Resident Evil 2 Remake and Resident Evil 3 Remake already had a mechanism for taking mods off of a gun, specifically for those mods that increased the size of a gun in your inventory. But
The tassel toggle.
I guess they didn't bother. Oh wait, there is an option in the options menu that turns off visibility for the charms, I think. But
Do they do anything, or are they just like little doodad?
they're just
No, they're just
doodads,
cosmetic.
Yeah.
How tight is money in this game? Like, can you buy stuff like that and not worry about it?
Well,
It's
No,
pretty
they're
tight.
free. They're free bonuses.
The charms are just like DLC extras, but since you asked the question, on a first playthrough, money is fairly tight. In fact, you
Yeah.
probably want to avoid any situation in which you're buying ammunition so that you'll have that money for upgrades and stuff. But they do give you the option to buy a limited amount of ammunition in this game as well. Which is something that you couldn't do in Resident Evil 4 for some reason, despite the fact that on multiple occasions, when the merchant has a shop set up in a given room, he has piles and piles of ammunition on display.
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah, I've never
I
even
mean, you
considered
can
that.
kill the merchant in RE4. Can't you just do that and steal all his ammo?
No.
No,
What does he drop? I've never done that before.
I don't think he drops anything.
Oh, so where do his shop items come from?
The cloak.
Also, we can
So if you
get
kill
into
the man, the cloak goes with him.
Unfortunately, I guess maybe because it's a new game plus, the actually good jump scare does not actually happen here.
Oh, really? I was just
Yeah.
about to say how this I thought was like, I know everyone likes to talk about the dog in the window in the first game, but I genuinely think this is the only time it's ever been close to getting that. In fact, no, probably I'd say better than that. It's such a well built up moment. It's so good.
It's like for a moment
Because-
you think there'll be a jump scare, then there isn't. So you breathe a sigh of relief, and then
there is.
And then there is, yes.
Well, it's not
Well,
even that
well,
because
it's-
you're
what-
told to look
what's-
out the window, right? You're told to look out the window, so you're like, "Oh God, what's this picture of this man? Holy shit, what's out the window?" So then you start worrying, and you're looking out the window, thinking, "Oh God, what is it?" And then nothing happens, and then you notice the code, and you're like, "Oh cool, look, there's the code for the thing," and then it happens.
It's-
It's not just a jump scare; it's an enemy that will hurt you, so you have to deal with it, and it's so well done.
It's also a matter of your risk taking, your fight or flight brain is different from your puzzle solving brain.
Yeah.
So it actively changes the gears in your head. So you're not even thinking about it at that point because you're focused on reading the numbers, and then it hits you because you're even if you know something should be coming, if your brain's in a different space trying to do something else, it's going to get affected by that other thing.
Yeah,
regardless.
it's very, very well done. And I
It's,
know they keep on trying to redo the dog thing, and it's like, aside from maybe Resident Evil 1 remake where they had the window crack and no dog coming out of, aside from that, I don't think they've ever been able to redo that kind of thing.
But it's not as simple as just redoing that. It's also that the way they staged and executed this particular jump scare, it's a very Silent Hill approach to jump scares. Silent Hill, it does it like very sparingly. But Silent Hill has a way of setting you up for a jump scare that never comes, and then having the actual jump scare come from somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh, like the cat in the school locker and everything.
The cat in the school locker, or the mannequin room in 3.
Oh, jeez, I forgot about that. You're right. Yeah.
Wait, so do they have like a creepy mannequin room, and then not one of the mannequins comes to life, but something else happens?
There, oh man, I hesitate to spoil it for anybody because
No,
you
don't.
You really
Don't
have
look it
to
up.
experience that room for yourself, so I'm not going to say
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, look it up. The problem with Silent Hill is that there's so many, because it's not your traditional classic horror game series. So like, so many of the moments can be ruined if you know what's coming up. So you just kind of need to let it all happen.
Man, when you have an infinite ammo magnum, the armor boys come out looking like chumps, and
I remember when I did my first playthrough, people in my stream chat were telling me that like I should have just run away from him, and I was like, I took him down. He was all right.
He's a beefier guy. He's not that difficult. It's just a matter of you do have to get past him to continue the plot. So.
I think what Lewis is really disappointed at is that he wasn't in charge of this village playthrough. We going through 16 40-minute parts. Because that's what I want.
It's the same part length.
Hey, how do I put this?
I'm not hearing a denial.
Yeah, I was gonna say you nailed it.
Length isn't really the thing that bothers me. Length.
That's what she said.
God, you beat me to it. That's what he said.
Well, then we're just talking about girth, aren't we? But no. Look. The length of my Resident Evil parts in particular is kind of just a consequence of me actually trying to make the playthrough look as scary as it is on the first run. Because, like, when I try...
but John did bring up a good point, is that when we're talking over it, how scary can it actually
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so at that point, we're just talking over a load of slow moving and nothing going on.
Yeah, I guess. But, like...
Yeah, I mean, it's admirable. Like, I get it. I feel that it works best for a live stream, though, not so much of a commentary.
Maybe.
And maybe like like,
maybe I'm right.
Yeah, if you want to try and give it like a cinematic angle, and you're like, if people want to watch your videos on gameplay and no one else's because they can't afford the game or whatever, then
Or if like the four of us were role playing as folks watching like some sort of like live cam like Blair Witch.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, is that if I tried to play a Resident Evil game like Ryan is playing it now with an infinite ammo Magnum, I'd get bored halfway through and I wouldn't be able to finish. I'm not even kidding. I have plenty of extra points to spend in the shop. I have not unlocked a single one of the unlimited ammo weapons.
So you were never the kind to play RE4 like an action game and just plow through it.
Well,
like
when you
everything.
actually watch someone who's plowing through Resident Evil 4, the way you would plow through it at maximum speed, it's the most boring shit ever because you're literally running past all the enemies. The Ganados are kind of slow and dumb.
Well, not like a speed run, I guess is the way, but just like playing it just to beat up
I think it's more a case of it's to give you a chance to feel like God when you felt like a peasant to begin with.
I'll play Resident Evil 4 like an action game, but that's because like I don't find it to be a particularly effective horror game. No matter how many times people tell me it hits the perfect balance between horror and action, I don't see it. It's an action game.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think. Yeah, I think it is definitely more action than horror.
Like,
it's just. I think. Well, I
it's
think,
only
I
the
think
opening
Johnny actually
village
said it
section
in his
that's-
versus video. It's the whole. It's the situations that you're in that creates the tensions, not necessarily what potentially could happen. It's not the worry of ammunition or anything. It's, oh my god, I'm in this situation and I've got to deal with it right now. That's what causes
I gotta
the
say,
horror.
I don't play a lot of horror games, but when I did play Resident Evil 4 3 years before Some Call Me Johnny finished his Dragon Quest V review on his
It's that
channel.
annoying gnat again.
I will say the game didn't really scare me too much. There were only a couple of moments where I remember being actually scared. One was when you were playing as Ashley and there were the knights in the armor that were like swinging at you. Chainsaw guy and like...
I'd say Regenerators, dude, the first time.
It certainly was tense.
Regenadors.
But the game definitely does still have a lot of tension, which I guess is what you're going for. I guess is the thing. Like it's not playing something like Metal Slug, I guess, where it is just all shoot, bang, bang.
I guess a lot of my problem with the way Resident Evil 4 handles horror is that I find horror itself as a concept in a video game to be most effective when it comes at you from gameplay. And in gameplay, most of the time in Resident Evil 4, you're dealing with Ganados. And Ganados are fucking stupid and easy to hurt into choke points so that you can just blow them the hell up and spam your spin kick at them.
I know what you mean.
So I approach Resident Evil 4 like an action game. I feel that Resident Evil 8 handles the horror aspect more effectively in combination with action. In that the areas that you fight in are designed to be more challenging with fewer enemies. You don't need to deal with a whole herd of Ganados all at once. You just need 2 or 3 ghouls and you're in trouble. And you need to actually think about how you're using the environment to get away from them and avoid damage. and that's doubly so with the lichens. I mentioned this, but I found myself barricading doors with shelves in this game, which was a thing you could do in 4, but I never did. The other thing I found myself doing on hardcore mode specifically was using the flour bags to create clouds of dust that create a visual obstruction, and in the case where you get an enemy close enough to it when you set it off, it also stuns them. So,
oh goddamn, Ryan, you're screwed now. You just murdered those chickens.
So it feels more like a survival horror situation when you're using the environment and these environmental tools to help you escape damage, even though it also is fundamentally focused on action and killing things. So
I mean, yeah, I will be the first.
They can't. The cuckoos can't call for help if they're not alive to call for help.
I will be the first to say that on my first playthrough, at the beginning of the game, going through this particular bit here, that got me sweating. I hated it. And there's only like 2 enemies. There's no one in the grass, but it's just, yeah. I think you're right with that. Like the balance of how much ammo you have and the firepower you have, and the level design and everything working together. I do see what you mean there.
Even just little tweaks to the Resident Evil 4 system, like in Resident Evil 4, I didn't know that cage was there. I'm gonna remember that next time I play. In Resident Evil 4, when enemies die, they drop ammo about half the time. So if you get a bunch of Ganados into a choke point, headshot a few, and then use your roundhouse kick to deal a lot of damage all at once, you get a lot of ammo out of the bargain. Usually in Resident Evil 4, you leave a battle encounter with more ammo than you started with if you know what you're doing. That's not the case here. When you kill an enemy in Resident Evil 8, you get crafting components or money. So stuff that you can use to get ammo later, but not ammo that is immediately accessible.
Yeah, you have to choose what you want to use. Yeah, because like, do you want to make what item helps you at this particular moment? It's not just more ammo. Yeah.
Yeah. So I found myself in the same place a lot of the time that I did on my first playthrough through Resident Evil 2 Remake, which is to say, I spent. Oh, did you leave an item behind?
No, I think I killed an enemy above the house.
Oh, that always sucks. So many items that you just can't get because they're stuck on a rooftop. But like in Resident Evil 2 Remake, on my first playthrough when I was going through blind, I spent the entire playthrough just like right on the edge of not having enough resources, and it was great. It felt like the balance was just where it needed to be to keep me on that in that tense place. Of course, in future playthroughs, now that I know what I'm doing, I usually have an excess of stuff, but that's because I know what to expect. I can plan ahead really effectively. It's the same thing here. In Resident Evil 8, I always felt like I was just about to run out of everything that I needed to get by, but I always had just enough to squeeze by. And whenever the game started to sort of ease up on me and I would start to amass more resources, I would run into something optional like the big guy by the grave over in the Puppeteers area. The optional guy that you have to fight for some treasure.
Yeah.
All of my ammo was gone by the time I finished that.
Oh yeah, same here. Yeah, same here.
So, I started to tense up whenever the game started to hand ammo to me because I knew there was probably something coming up that I would need it all for.
Maybe I'm looking too deep into this, but now that we've talked about the whole clues to Ethan's true selfness and everything, I did just notice in the pause menu that, you know, in all the other Resi games, you have like a heartbeat monitor to represent your health on the inventory screen.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that here. You have like a weird, like infected vial-looking thing.
Why on earth you can't?
It's also because I like to think that's not as emphasized as much here because you don't have the monitor wristwatch.
On
your hand
yeah.
as compared to 7.
That's another change from Resident Evil 4 that I like, though. You don't have like an actual health bar now. And there are health upgrades and damage resistance upgrades, but they don't visually register on the health bar the way they did in 4. And that was something that always made it feel more like an action game. Having that like very precise measure of how much things were hurting you. One of the things about a survival horror game is that you don't often have that kind of a precision picture of what your health is like. You just have a general picture. You're a little bit injured. You're injured enough that your character is visually kind of uncomfortable, or you're in danger status and your health meter is red and you can probably take only one more hit, but maybe what hits you next won't kill you. And we're still keeping to that imprecise view of what our health looks like, and that uncertainty, that lack of complete awareness of how you're doing at all times is it kind of maintains the idea that you are a human being trying to watch your health, trying to watch your physical wellness, rather than a video game character with a number attached to your HP bar, you know. So it's hard to explain, but it's kind of an abstraction that helps keep you in the correct headspace for horror, at least in my experience.
Well,
Can
also,
you
like
do
in
the-
some of the other ones from 2 onwards, like you stagger around when you're on danger, so there's also a gameplay reason why you don't want that to happen, as well as
Yeah, but I'm glad they got rid of that stagger.
I will say it is annoying, but it is also, I also do find it very funny to watch.
Well, that's the other thing, though. You don't see your health on the screen at all times either. It's in your pause menu that you have to check. And yeah, it's fine that the game flashes your health bar up when you take damage so that you can very quickly glance up at it and you don't have to stop what you're doing. But not having that HUD clutter also helps keep you in the correct headspace.
Yeah, because if you're going along and like let's say you get attacked once, and then you're in the middle of a tense situation with a million enemies, and you kill all the enemies and everything's fine, but then because you got attacked that one time and you were so busy figuring out what to do with all the other enemies, you forget that you got hit earlier, and so you're just carrying along with the game, and it's like at any point you could pause and check your health, but if you don't, then there's a chance that the next swipe will kill you instantly, and you don't realize that. So it kind of, like you said, it kind of forces you to be in a position where you have to think about your health, like separate from the game telling you about it.
Yeah, and keeping Leon's health like really visible in the corner of the screen in a traditional meter sort of situation always felt very gamey. And like, I know that a lot of people scoff at that kind of complaint, but keeping those elements out of the player's view when you don't want them directly in the player's mind is a way to create immersion in a video game. And Resident Evil 4 threw that idea out, and I feel it was to the detriment of the horror aspect. But that's just my opinion.
Good luck in the comments, everyone.